What's going on, everybody? So today we are saying goodbye to one of our favorite horror franchises as filming of the final installment has concluded. We also have an update on an award that was recently presented to a film that we covered here last week. And we have an upcoming Stephen King adaptation, and we are going to see what is the latest update on that film in today's episode. So let's get into it. So, as we know, and as many of us have probably seen coming and have heard, the Conjuring stars mark last day filming final movie. Our fake marriage lasted longer than many real ones. So that's a quote from Vera and her take between her and Patrick Wilson as far as them wrapping up the filming of the Conjuring Last Rite. So again, if you don't know, and if you already did know, filming has recently wrapped up on the final entry into the Conjuring universe. So let's get into the details here. The Conjuring's two lead stars, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, are getting sentimental about their on-screen relationship as they close up shop filming The Conjuring Last Rites, their last movie together in the franchise. Wilson in particular noted how their fake marriage has lasted longer than many real ones. Quote, as the sun sets on the Conjuring franchise, I am overwhelmed with Wilson, who plays Ed Warren, a renowned demonologist alongside his clairvoyant wife, Lorraine, wrote in an Instagram post published Friday, there aren't enough things to go around for the thousands of people who've contributed to the making of these films and the millions who've watched them. We have here an image from The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Let's keep going into the details. To this on-screen ball and chain, Farmiga, what to say? He continued, our fake marriage has lasted longer than many real ones. I adore you. He also paid tribute to the filmmaker Michael Chavez, who directed previous franchise installments The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and The Nun Part 2. And now Helm's Last Rite's coming to theaters next year. Don't know, unless I don't think we have a date next year, but we obviously know this one's coming in 2025. It's not technically, let's see here. The Curse of La Llorona was, but as Chavez previously explained to Entertainment Weekly, it's not technically part of the Conjuring verse. Quote, you have beautifully taken the reins and I can't wait to see this one put together, Wilson wrote, in addition to calling out the other key figures like the franchise architects James Wan and Peter Safran. So again, we just have a picture from here from Peter Wilson's Instagram of his trailer and his co-star's trailer with the quote we already read. On Thursday, Farmiga's shared a framed wedding photo of Ed and Lorraine to Instagram. Quote, round about 5,000 days ago, this guy and I signed a WB contract and said I do to embodying Ed and Lorraine Warren. Today he raps, I have another 12 hours of laughter and insanity with him, and then abruptly he will walk off set, peel off sweat-soaked demonologist garb and shave off his sideburns, flash that dazzling smile and bid our fake marriage adieu, she wrote. Yeah, I got them feels today. It was a match made in heaven. A hell of an era. Here's to 12 years. And then this is the image that she's referring to of the two actors together and her Instagram post that we just went through. So it's bittersweet. This is a franchise I think many of us have enjoyed. I've definitely enjoyed myself. I think it's one of those franchises that it found the right time to say goodbye. It found the right time to say, hey, we've done all we can do. We've told the stories we wanted to tell. It's time to shut it down and everyone to move on. I'm glad that they recognize that fact and are calling it now versus keep churning out these films and they start to deteriorate, whether that's in quality, story, or you start seeing, if Patrick would have left the role and they bring somebody in to try to, fill that character role, and it would never feel the same. So I'm definitely happy that both of these two stuck around for the films where the two characters were portrayed in. It provided that consistency across each of the films. So that is one thing you don't see very often, but I am happy that we did get to see that and got to see these two go for, 10, 12 years across for this franchise. So if you haven't checked out any of the Conjuring films or any of the films that fall within the Conjuring universe, I highly recommend you do and check them out. This particular subgenre of horror is one of my favorites when it comes to like possession and like demon possessions, exorcisms, things of that nature. So again, highly recommend, if you haven't already, to give it a check out. Check out the franchise. It's definitely worth the time, in my opinion. So, all right, let's move on to our next topic. So, Camerimage gripping Danish drama, The Girl with the Needle wins Golden Frog. So we covered this story last week. We actually, when the trailer dropped for this, we watched the trailer. Black and white film, takes place, I believe it was around World War I, World War II time frame. I believe it was World War I. But let's jump into the details. The acclaimed Danish period horror drama, The Girl with the Needle, shot by cinematographer Michael Demek, took home the Camerimage Film Festival's Golden Frog Saturday night in Torun, Poland. The winner was selected by a jury led by two-time Oscar winner Kate Blanchett. Camerimage famously celebrates the art of cinematography, so it honors are extended to the directors of photography behind the movies exhibited in its main competition. But this year's jury made a point of adding a special mention for The Girl with the Needle, 40-year-old director Magnus von Horn. Let's see here. The masterfully realized period thriller is loosely based on the true story of Danish serial killer Dagmar Overby, who helped impoverished women kill their unwanted children in the 1910s. So this would have been 1910. So this would have been well before, probably. This would have been around the time of World War I then, not World War II. The Hollywood Reporter's contributing film critic Leslie Felperin summed up the film as, quote, a dark, urgently timely Danish drama that's like one of those fiendish knots that tighten the more you squirm, building to devastating climax taut as piano wire. She added, quote, shot digitally in black and white and using a claustrophobic 3:2 ratio by rising cinematography Michael Demek. The film has the haunted, eerie still poise of antique photographs, an aesthetic that will delight sinistries. So again, we covered this film again last week. I'm having it on my list. I'm waiting to see it. I can't wait to see this film. I love the period piece films, especially when you get them in horror, and a bonus edition when it's in black and white. So I mean, that's a trifecta. You don't see that happen, not really with many films, period, let alone horror films nowadays, where, we're talking 1910s, black and white, and it feels like, and the imagery feels like their photography. So, again, I'm all for it. And I know when we reviewed the trailer, it was, the movie is subtitled, isn't so if you're not into that, and you're not one necessarily likes to read subtitles with any movie, then I would probably say avoid this one. But if you're open to it, I would recommend checking out. This one definitely looks good. So we will let you know when it becomes available, and when we'll be checking it out ourselves. So, all right, our last topic for today's show is Everything We Know About the Monkey, a Stephen King adaptation from Osgood Perkins and James Wan. So, no surprise. I mean, many of Stephen King's, much of his work, many pieces of his work have been adapted into films. So now we have this one coming up, and we'll see what some of the details are. There have been a lot of movies and TV shows, right here, based on the works of Stephen King, but there are also still a good number of King stories that have slipped through the cracks and never received an adaptation. For example, the short story The Monkey has been around for over 40 years, but it's only just now getting the big screen treatment, with Neon planning to give a film based on The Monkey a theatrical release on February 21st, 2025. With the date just a few months away, we figured this would be a good time for us to put together a list of everything we know about The Monkey. So, I mean, this is now another horror film we're going to be getting in early 2025. I think of the films we've been reviewing here on the show lately, this probably marks, I think, the 5th or 6th horror film we're going to get within the first 2 months of 2025. I can't think of another year where we actually got that many horror films in a year, let alone that many in the first 2 months of a year, where they haven't been all franchise films, like various sequels to other franchises, or the first sequel to creating a franchise, right? So excited to see again that we're getting a lot more added to the genre, and again, they're not all sequels and reboots. So I'll put the link of this. I'll put the link for this article in the description of this video below. So if you want to read through all these details and check it out, we're not going to read this line by line. What we're going to do is we're just going to jump right to this red text, which is the synopsis. Okay, so it goes: when twin brothers Hal and Bill discover their father's old monkey toy in the attic, a series of gruesome deaths start occurring all around them. The brothers decide to throw the monkey away and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years. But when the mysterious deaths begin again, the brothers must reunite to find a way to destroy the monkey for good before it takes the lives of everyone close to them. So we next part is cast, producers, the tone of it. So let's read that. So the tone, quote: by far it's deliberately comedic. It's feeling more like an old John Landis movie, or a John Dante movie, or a Robert Zemeckis movie. I saw an opportunity to make a weary, absurdic comedy about death. It's about the very basic fact that we will all die, and how funny and weird and impossible and surreal is that. And to come at it from a tragic comedy kind of voice felt like it fit. At the end of the day, if you want to reduce it, it's the haunted toy or an evil toy subgenre, and I couldn't imagine doing a serious one of those. To me, it rang utterly false to approach it that way, so I just went in the other direction. For me, the movie is a smile from top to bottom, and I'm really looking forward to people seeing it. So then we have this first poster down here, the monkey, this other general one. Again, this general one, and we do have a trailer. So the trailer is very much as a teaser trailer. There's not much really shown to it, so we're not going to jump into that one here. If we do a trailer review, we'll do that in a separate video, and we'll add the link to that video in the description below. Now, real quickly though, but reading the tone of this, as you all know, I'm not big on comedy when it comes to horror films. I feel that they're two separate things. I feel horror film and all the subgenres that fall underneath it should be horror films. I don't believe in, so to speak, nor am I a fan of when comedy is added to horror. And I talked about this in a little bit more detail when we covered Terrifier 3. Went and saw Terrifier 3 in theaters. I'm a fan of Terrifier. I enjoyed the first and second films. Now, when it came to the third film, that was the one thing that stood out to me that I didn't necessarily care for, was the comedy. Was the comedic aspect that they added to Art the Clown. I felt it was out of character for Art the Clown. I felt like it wasn't something that was fitting based on how he is perceived in the first two films. So it felt like they were not forcing it, but as if they felt, well, we need to add this in order to, resonate with the audience, which again, I don't think was needed. So if there was one thing I would have changed about Terrifier 3, it would have been take the comedy out of it and take it off the character of Art the Clown. And with that said, going into this here, what do you expect when you have a toy monkey and then somehow killing people off? That in itself, I'm interested to see how that story is going to play out. It might make sense. It might make more sense as a book, and maybe that's why it's taken 40 years and no one's tried to make a film out of this, and now somebody is. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that. However, the comedy aspect does bother me and worry me that they'll rely too much on comedy and not enough on horror. So we'll give it a chance. We'll check it out and see how it turns out. But it is something I'll go into this film with a bit of weariness and reservations on. So we'll check it out and we will report back. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's episode. Just want to say thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me and with us here at Reign of Horror. It is always greatly appreciated. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment in the comment section letting us know what you think about today's topics. Otherwise, we will see you at the next one. Peace.